Misadventures of Kahori Harukawa on Twitch.tv/HomoHomo2093 is brought to you by the Okami Roho Free Coming of Coeurl, the pack that's got your back. The Misadventures is next broadcast to over 190 countries and territories around the world on Twitch.tv/HomoHomo2093 and is a designated non-spoiler stream. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. You are tuned in to the Misadventures of Kahori Harukawa on Twitch.tv/HomoHomo2093, a designated non-spoiler stream brought to you in living color by the Okami Roho Free Company of Coeurl, the pack that's got your back. I am your host, Bongo Boy Pongitoy, the gift that keeps on giving. You are tuned in to day 13 of Endwalking with you. This is patch 6.15 of Final Fantasy XIV. We have a full slate of content, playthroughs ready to wet your whistle and get you into the heart of things. We are going to get started with the Orchestra Beast Tribe quest over in Thavnair. Then we're going to head over to Old Charlene and initiate customer deliveries with Amelia and Slavayor. Then we're going to go ahead and do some Omega Beyond the Rift quests. Then we'll go ahead and help out Taru on her grand adventure. And then the main event will be closing it out with a couple of quests from Hildebrand Manderville's Misadventures. If you like what you see on this broadcast, hit the follow button on your Twitch player and the subscribe button on YouTube. This will be broadcast in its entirety on my YouTube channel under my IRL name, Joran Salazar. Alright, Bay. Ready to get going? Bay's ready. Let's get going. Head over to Thavnair. And we're going to go get started with the Orchestra Beast Tribe quests. I will be doing narration since there is no voice acting in this. Gonna do some voice acting to show you that words and actions this time they speak as loud as each other. Let's get started. Hang over the other man. This is patch 6.15 of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker on Twitch.tv/HomoHomo2093, a designated non-spoiler stream. Let's get started. Ah, Kahori, just who I was hoping to see. Do you have a moment? Just when someone without numbers he had finally returned to us, I received word of some truly particular hippo sightings. Yes, hippos. A veritable herd of hippos. Running down the high road no less. I thought that was normal for Daphne. Yes, well, though hippos have long inhabited Vanaspati, it's quite unusual to see them such numbers of the natural habitat among hurrying travellers on the high road. It harried the travellers out. Those hippos have been displaced with the fires that beset the jungle in their final days. We must find them a more suitable home for the sake of all concerned. I would normally ask the radiant host for help with such affairs, but they already have so much on their hands, and no fool happens to be away. So, could I ask you to look into that? Sure. Oh, thank you. You are truly a blessing. I don't know what more. I've already told you, I'm sure. Or this little man has spotted a herding hippo too. That's not the Quest accepted. Let's go. Go, 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 go. What did the hippos you say? Oh yes, I saw them running down the high road at tremendous speed. Just watch. They keep so much dust going in the clear. Look at them, man on the island knows that's supposed to look at. Not about it. Features some head. Features the hippo. Yes, I've seen hippos on a number of occasions over by the Greenberg. The second time I've answered that question has many bells. One of the refugees came by asking the very same months ago. Turna, I think her name was. If you're looking for the same hippos, may she go up? She set off toward the people from Nice as I saw. This is what was dreadful like a star up north. Which encouraged their hippos. Mr. Drew knows what else. They come down to join the other refugees, turn out to be stirring up trouble. You don't have enough people reaching for goodwill already. Got that. This quest is called Hippos Born to Run. Or to unlock this, you're gonna need to do a couple of quest chains in Thavner and then a combined chain that unifies two. What are you looking at? Can't you see I'm in the middle of something here? Eh? You're looking for hippos? Yes. Damn, I was hoping to put bait to this forgotten plan. Well, those hippos you're looking for should be rolling through any moment now. Stand back and watch. Here they come. Hey, no stopping! What? Why is there fruit in the middle of the... You've done it now, you Hamza heads! Maru, what I tell you about riding this high road? Boss! Well, the roads become ain't good for running no more, boss. We ain't got much of a choice. Hurling hippos are dangerous. Yeah, riding down a main road, kicking up dust storms. You're scaring people. What do you already work at the tower resort? The fires that are screaming, the people are turning. You really think racing a wreck is what we need right now? Actually, got through your heads are spill out for you. Our racing days are over. They were over yesterday. They're over the day before that too. I take it this serves you hippo, mister. Now the soul left is apologized for these citizens. Got to tell me what the director groveling. Alright, let's have a chat with this Kankana. You're coming tomorrow. I left you in charge and one in charge takes responsibility. That's how it goes. Would it be there to give you a report or something, right? See you soon enough then. Right. Let's go ahead and head over to the gun. Now, who might these fresh faces be? I was making news about hippos. Have you put up like a few lost sauce as well? Something like that. Turn us a name and on behalf of my hippos and associates here, I apologize for the commotion. We used to raise in hippo cuts the less round pass about the party, you see. Never took much to society but the styles of the raining fire, which we just don't care for ourselves and leave to the land. Being new to these parts, no excuse. We should remember to take the high road high speed. Or sorry for any undue distress we might have caused. We ain't got much to offer, make it up to you however we can. That is in a bad way. We're gonna do any good for anybody. How's the time? Or at least I'd like to think. We got much in the way of ideas concerning how misfits like us can contribute. Are looking for purpose and speedy hippos is here and true. Perhaps there is some trainers as this can contribute to a recovery path now. Have you ever considered delivery work? Delivery work? You think we could really do something like that? I mean, a hippo cuts the fastest set of wheels there is, but it's an excellent idea. Local trades on the way to recovery. The timely delivery of goods via hippo cart can only be a boon. However, delivery work requires a great deal of trust. You're transporting someone's precious possessions. You only need to learn the trade, but not the respect that the people expect. Everyone says somewhere, they don't need to feel intimidated. This sounds like something to try. But I'd like Kahori show you how it's done. So how was a parcel and dinner with the great works accidentally uploaded here today? It's filled with medicine and for Kidania. I'd like it sent over as soon as possible. Would you be a dear and delivery returner? With your worldly experience, I'm sure you will serve as a shining example of professionals. Just leave it to me. I'll test the parcel to you, Turner. I have no doubt that you will see it safely to its destination. Sort of take you out the way, Kahori, but look forward to seeing a professional do the race a professional does. We went by the gates, give it a shot when you're ready to go. We're ready when you are. My partner Sauda here is pulling the fastest car the island. I stored the goods we deliver on the seat. They won't get damaged or nothing. And we're about to leave and you're hippoles. There's another car just for you. Our hippos are usually sire on strangers. You'll die with the fruit only. There's nothing to worry about. They're smarter than to bite the hand that feeds. We don't just let anybody ride our carts, but the boss thinks you can handle it. Only for bellyaching my wind, racing the cuts in the high ranks of Hansa heads, I know. Off we go, slow and steady. This is the hurtling hippo cart. Not a bad way to trouble, eh? My crew descend these cuts from scratch, you know. Historically, we Orchestra never went around and took over carriages and the like, but at some point I got wondering, why not? Sure, with a heavy bunch, nothing's impossible. You put your mind to it, right? Well, after auditioning all kinds of critters, only come not to hippos. Already it's a team effort. Our hippos can sprint with the best of them and get a lot of stamina. Good ready knows what to push and not to let out. There we are, safe and sound. Now we hand over the goods, right? Or I'll be talking about an imported pocket voodoo. I'll be waiting delivery. If you need delivery ship, it's neither key nor profit. Wait, aren't you the one who saved Idana? Oh, I see. Well, thank you for both going out of the way to bring this over. You've saved me considerable grief. No large trading vessels can dock here, you see. Usual orders are offloaded at Lanier and then shipped by Dow, but some they get mixed in with packages tested for Yedema. And then the logistical nightmare begins, I'm afraid. Check to see if you indeed have my herbs. Yes, this is it. Importing this is trying now without delivery mishaps, so I'm relieved they made it here safely. I think that all the hippo was, in fact, industrious delivery work. I need to watch for the proper contacts. You've done a marvelous job. I'll be sure to call upon your services again. That wasn't delivery. Guess I let a misunderstanding. Never hurt anyone. Perhaps we should trust you though. I get trust is just standing next to you. And he looks so happy about his herbs and we smile right along with him. Maybe we really can make a difference to this delivery business. Thanks for showing me the ropes and doing all the talking too. I did get straight with the Kahana, but looks of it, your hippo needs a breather. No surprise, considering what it's been through lately. Here's what I'll do. I'll let this big boy rest up a bit. You go on ahead with Soraya. Trust you my price set of wheels. Be careful. No scratches or nothing. Just strike until you come in here and there shouldn't be any problems. That's a pair of cards. Big return on the great work. Try it again. see others are already speeding through the quest line. We're not doing that anymore. This is the card. Note that it is not yet ready to fly, since we're just trialing this amount right now. Gotcha. And here's our destination. Mission accomplished. A triumphant sorry I turned us away with the curtain toe. And I'm pleased to hear your successful delivery. Over there. Welcome back. Kahori just told me about your successful delivery. Thank you for the help, Tim. What did you think of your first job? The delivery part seems seriously forward for it. The whole build and thrust thing won't be easy. It's not like we can give up and go home to Vanaspati. Sooner or later we'll have to get used to living with other folks. And you should be relieved that Alchemist was when he got his supplies. It's nice to know we did some good in the world. There's no greater reward for a job well done in my experience. You continue to stay on this path, and the joy you bring will be returned to you tenfold. It's a new endeavor for you and your associates, however, I do believe it is best if someone oversees your progress. Kahori, you did so much for Coeurl to ask. Will you lend your aid to Trina and her associates? I know we're the right crew of misfits, Kahori, but I promise you we're hard workers. Give us a chance and we'll make you proud. You got spirit, kid. I'm with you. Thank you. I swear you won't regret this. Now that that's settled, I think it's time you saw your new home. You say you've gone to possession of all trading posts as since, fallen into disuse. The structure's been worse for a while, plot is very conveniently located. You're free to fix it up however you'd like. You're just gonna let us use it? Just like that? Or lease it to you for a small fee. That's to say your new business fails to turn up or maybe make the use of that space one day. We can talk about particulars later. Now, how about you go and take a look? I'll mark this location on this map. Gladly, thanks for everything you've done for us. Let's give you new headquarters. I'll round up my people. Sit over there. New headquarters. Kahori, glad you turned up. As you can see, this place ain't no mega duta. Once you get the basics up and running, start feeling home in no time. And encourage it to sort our space, store packages and whatnot. Amona's boss. I'm still not sure about all this. If you say we should give it a shot, I guess I can try. Thanks, Maru. I'm kind of you, know. Alright, as of today, we're making our name as reliable delivery bookers. We got a lot to learn, but don't go easy on us. It's just everything you know. Now we need a name for our new business. Something real trustworthy. Boss, we gotta fix this place up. We ain't got time to be worrying about names. We're throwing our team name anyway. Our team name? You're right. We don't need to be fancy. Just fast, reliable, and ready hippo cards. Hippo Riders it is. For a charismatic leader, turn out. The Hippo Riders have retired from racing and brand themselves as speedy delivery partners. However, they're still on the island as local delinquents. You should experience this venture, and just here it has been better their reputation. The Hippo Riders, Beast Tribe quests unlocked. Hasty Hazy Hippos, that's the chain of achievements. Let's get going. Here we go. We're gonna go ahead and skip the dialogues on this. Stand. Douse the residents with gulal. Red gulal, yellow gulal, and blue gulal. These are pinks. A reference to the holy festival in India. It feels like a race horse of gulal. I suppose we don't have any other colors. Yellow perhaps? Okay. But they're brilliant. Like a sunshine. There's gulal during hard times. You just know what the silent needs. Supplies has dwindled me instead of needs, but with this basic preparing been more out of sick. Fortune favors you with the same kindness you've shown me. As a Roman, while to wash up, that's simply part of the fun. Red gulal is known to nurture good health and ward away injury. I dare say we finish my trolla instantly. I spent a moment of happiness like this. There's much to be done. Resting in such trying times must find and maintain inner peace. Thank you for reminding me of this. Now then, next. Time to search for the nervous rider. This is still maybe faster. But after this, we're gonna go ahead and do customer deliveries with a million, so we get that started. Stop shouting at me! Just tell me what you want and leave me be. No, I didn't mean. The boss was just to speak up. Just. Pause. Take a deep breath. Perhaps. Okay. Oh, feels better. Oh. Take a this. They go to help and tell more of the vaccine. Now we have to go ahead and obtain some green Astamogara. So we're on this other side. Let's speed things up. These ones are in case you have not unlocked flight. We have unlocked flight. No need for those folks. The ones in the smart are doing the quests first. They're doing these things first so that they beat the reset. Got 15 tons of astronomy. Alrighty, now then, we're gonna switch over. Head over to Old Charlin. We're gonna go ahead and do our first work with a portion of yours, wife Amelis. Again, if you like what you see in this broadcast, hit the follow button on your Twitch player. And the like button and the follow button on Twitch player and the subscribe button on YouTube. This will be archived in its entirety on YouTube. You are perfect this. You're none other than Madam Harukawa, are you not? Madam, yes, that's me. It's a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance. I am Merrill, a humble servant of House of Eva. I heard you're an exemplary artisan, is this true? So I should hope you'll be intrigued by a proposal from my employer. See, Lady Mellon's been focused on a particular important social welfare endeavor of late. To succeed of an artisan possessed of talent commensurate to the task at hand. That glint in your eye tells me you wish to know more. I invite you to speak with her in person. You have it, she's available at this very moment. You can see where should arrange seat for you in her house of your reservation. Maybe we can wait the last stand at your convenience and wait Lady Meliance's arrival. Actually, small business patrons will then be the next quest. That probably means we're going to go ahead and do Tataru stuff next. Kahori, I presume it was Merrill who sent you hither. Over the past my fresh endeavors, no doubt. I'm guilty of the same. By Lady W's correspondence and full of the most tantalizing hints of late. Surprise, surprise. What? Not happy to see me? Think I may be coming down with something. Max, this ain't my venture. I'm here for Lemon's invitation. At the very least, I must suggest you join us for a cup of tea. Do sit down. I see. So the students are beginning to accepting foreign students, is it? Yes, as you know, surrounding the all-inclusive borders avoid any interfering their affairs with other nations, prominent single-minded focus to secure the safety of the peoples of the star. Final days have heard that the need for such drastic measures is dissipated. For a long time in the world, winds of change have begun to blow. Charlene is trying to become an open nation. Not all students can afford the cost incurred by studying abroad, along with the steep price of the student's tuition. It's scarce to imagine how those from nations who suffer the worst of the final days might attempt such a feat. To ease the financial burden, I plan to offer all necessary school supplies free of charge. Furthermore, I've been talks with a number of Charlotte families to propose an academic homestead program. What a lovely initiative. Good old-fashioned culture exchange should be a mutual lighting experience for the many Sharons who have remained cooped up with their dusty old homes. Such is my hope. I also recall a great deal of your fortune was poured into outfitting the Ragnarok, yes? As such, you can hope to carry out this endeavor long term without financial backer, partner, if you will. I'm all for noble causes, but you can't possibly suggest that we provide everything for free. Oh, but of course I am. Graduate requires students to repay the sum of their tuition after graduating. Some few could afford, be no different from a loan, after all. I see. Well, I wish I could help, but no prospect of income must be strictly declined to offer. Now I might tend to be rude, but I run a business, not a charity. I completely understand. I recently found myself missing the time I spent in the Duranian Pendulums, washing all the children myself. I'm not so happy living in the Emporium. And although it may not be, the town was once tremendously effervescent, filled to the brim with crying souls who traveled every corner of yours in pursuit of knowledge. Of course, it was not solely just a pursuing researchers' journey there, far from it. However, seekers of knowledge, no small few merchants made a living by preparing research supplies, and then they had immediate access to a reservoir of cutting-edge inventions. Think of it, I dare say my contact at the East Aldenar Trading Company will be intrigued to hear of similar possibilities arising from our program. So we're kind of get an hour to introduce us. The East Aldenar Trading Company. Hold on a minute now. What the hell could possibly be giving this woman the confidence to act so bafflingly indifferent?
It's supposed to be a big man in the form of theirs, ain't he? The reason he may have heard rumblings of Charlotte investing deeper in its education system. In that case, it'd be wiser to invest now to reap the benefits later. But yet, the students who end up attending will be the best advisors of their respective nations. I make feel in debt to me now. They'll be obligated to pay the favor in the future. They'll become powerful, distinguished members of society. I will also have the need of a skilled artisan to procure the necessary supplies. No doubt the demand is sure to be immense. This just looks at the patio line with no interest in the matter. Then must begin on home. Countless preparations need to be made ere my distinguished guest arrives. Hold that thought. I've come around to your proposal. I, and as your partner of the House of Splendors, pledges its considerable support for your endeavor. An investment for the future, let's call it. That is, on one condition. Kahori must be the sole supplier. Oh, how fortuitous. I expect you to pledge your support. Full glad I am that you have. Together, we can give countless students the opportunities they deserve. What say you, Kahori? Would you be able to spare some time for the seemingly infinite number of responsibilities that require your attention? Wonderful! I'm counting on both of you. It's time to get to work, Bay. Well, men and women have already left. If you're wondering, they tend to do some sightseeing in time before returning home. I do hope you were able to enjoy our tea time together. If you have none more deserving of brief respect. I must apologize, however, for dragging you into this matter. You deserve a full explanation, not here. Would you care to meet me in my home? Splendid. Should we you love your estate? Slide over to the mansion. Thank you for humoring, Kahori, and welcome once again. Years have split my children from far as response to the signs of the seventh dawn. When the signs have disbanded, it has done little to diminish my desire to be of service. That is why I decided as past time made my own contribution to the world. This is thought that you and my children have sacrificed so much to save. I'm merely one person. My resources limited. Words can ill express how grateful I am for your aid. Now I have become to see me not only as a mother confidant, I'll say, but as your partner and friend. So therefore, I'm counting on you, Kahori. Now, there is, in fact, another reason I might do here, the love of your household, to be partaking in the homestead program. I have already accepted a student. She comes from a family of accomplished alchemists, having a fab there. Her elders are gone fetch from the port, so won't imagine she will arrive here. Lady Emeliance, a pleasure didn't keep you waiting over long. Miss Meladine has arrived. Nice to meet you. I'm Meladine, officially arrived from Thumbnail. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Pleasure's all mine, I'm sure. You must be utterly exhausted after such a long voyage. And since standing beside me is none other than... Oh, I know. It's Mr. Salesi, isn't it? I'm afraid not, my dear. This charming personage beside me is in fact Kahori, my business partner, better known as the hero who saved our star from the final days. I'm so sorry. It's too early to resume. I heard much and more of many of the heroic deeds and thunder. Never heard a face to put to the name. Putting aside, it's a dream come true for you to finally stand in the magnificent halls of the studio. We left with happiness on this very spot. It is dignified world surrounding me, as though I stand in the very annals of history itself. My mind wanders with the countless brilliance mind who's made discovery after discovery here. Miss Milladine, I'm afraid it is not the studio but the lobby your estate in which you stand. This residence shall be your lodgings for the duration of your stay. It may take some getting used to, but it's my wish that you come to feel at home. This your home? Oh, I have much to learn, and the thought of your present expression infused with dread. I hope we can get along. Oh, you needn't be so formal. Tell me, what can we do to make you feel more? I know. Please call me Mila. It's my folks back home call me. My Melon is usually reserved for when I'm in trouble. Please forgive me. I'm afraid I must continue to serve for now. Please, you so as coach to you. The families will be opening up their homes to students and enroll in the coming days. Must set a good example as the first host mother. If all goes to plan, we can expand the program to include even more students. Let's waste no time. There's plenty of work to be done. Classes studio will begin once students have time to settle in. I would like to use this period to procure all the necessities needed for their matriculation. You may find any materials you need by speaking with Sinop, the apothecary, and the Coeurl. Let's give the students the welcome they deserve. Alright, let's get going. I have to go to the Agora for this. Sinov is the person. These are the items. Here we go.
And now it's off to the estate.
Kahori come delivery, or do you perhaps care for some other tea?
No, we came here to get some deliveries done. Here we go. Here we go, Mama Millions.
The clothes you prepare not only consist of note taking for lectures, but the transcription of rituals and spells as well. Just look, the instrument, what piece of your studies you understand.
I am at a loss for words. This is simply outstanding. Should students grow accustomed to such immaculate craftsmanship, we nothing less will satisfy them again.
Take great pains to explain the unique circumstances under which this has been commissioned. Perfect. It's more than half an hour. We've done amazing work, Kahori. Just with that for your prowess in battle, half an hour. And I'll say we're wholly unaware of your remarkable skills as an artisan. Perhaps I'll take this opportunity to boast your many talents and my next letter to them. I've returned to the studio, Lady Emilians. Welcome home, Mila. How was your first day of classes? Oh, it was wonderful. Not only the professors, my classmates too were astonishingly friendly. I can hardly believe how many friends I've already made. It's reassuring to hear. Must say you wear the uniform quite well. Goodness, you're making me blush. Thank you, Lady Millions. Now, just for the compliment for everything. Once I learn to wield spells in my studies here, I can return home triumphant and prove my mother wrong. Would you care to elaborate? Oh yes, of course. For generations, those in my family have traditionally become alchemists, each of us pouring our hearts and souls into the creation of medicine. The final days, however, changed everything. Saw firsthand that there are countless lives not even the most advanced medicine can save. Made the decision I must learn to wield magic. It meant traveling as far as Charlian. Against my mother's wishes, but on my father's urging, I took my chances and made the journey here. You've been through an awful lot. Why pray tell is your mother so opposed to your learning spellcraft? I cannot say for certain, but alchemy has long been a source of pride for my family. She may find my decision to study an alternate discipline offensive by rejecting my lineage some way. It simply isn't the case. While I love alchemy, I'm not so beholden and blind to its shortcomings. To me, the decision is simple. If magic can save more lives than medicine, then I must learn to wield it, even if it breaks my mother's heart. That all said, so I know left from right when it comes to spellcraft. I'm surprised my application for the academic homestead was even accepted in the first place. You've earned your place here, Mila. Nothing more, nothing less. Thank you for speaking so candidly with us. Know that you have our full support. Whatever you need, pray do not hesitate to ask. You are both far too kind. I will try to make up, but I promise I won't let you down. Appointed to House of a Year. But no doubt there are other students in Rod who, much like Mila, yet struggle with their spellcraft. As such supplemental tools for their study shall prove beneficial. Toads and magical folk I most of all. The better the quality, the more quickly they shall be able to match the basics. I trust I can count on your assistance. Just leave it to me. Fabulous. Thank you, Kahori. The magical arts require a appropriate focus through which one one's skills. With its area knowledge, past game, magical function, there are numerous options. Quality is key, however, so please bear with me while I take a closer look. I'm not worse. This is simply outstanding. Students grow accustomed to connected questionship and nothing less will satisfy them again. Should take great pains to explain the circumstances under which this is being done. Thank you, Kahori, not only for procuring supplies, but for believing in my vision. After everything you grand about yourself, not else saying, never mind all the streams I believe might find ourselves put together, but I could not have asked for a better partner.
So there's that. Now then, we go ahead and head over to our next thing. It's time to do some work with Tataru. This is our third part of 4 in our playthrough of content from patch 6.15.
Harukawa, welcome, welcome. I am Gina, assistant shopkeep and apprentice seamstress here at the Taru's boutique. I doubt you remember my face, I'm one of many who owe you our loves, but you'll always have my gratitude for saving me that day on the Eblan line. You're too kind. Well, I hate to ask out more. Will you please say that you're here to assist in Mistress Taru's new endeavor? Not yet, but she soon shall be. Never would we do without your pension pushing up precisely when you're needed, eh? Now, to make the long story of our solvency short, we've secured the resources to procure the new designs are developed in cooperation with guilds near and far and sufficient quantity to meet rising demand. We shan't rest on laurels, however. Surpassing adventures and the occasional intrepid Charlene is all well and good, but we'll hardly take the world by storm. No. Much like yourself, we must look towards new horizons. The science proved that cooperation on star-wide scale is possible, and we will be poised to capitalize on that, build the greatest trade network in the history of Heidelin. All for the greater good, of course. Yes, this wonderful opportunity to bring people together. They all think back to the incredible moment when the Guardian army came to our rescue. How does our efforts still one day lead to a miracle like that which took place in the Urban Rhyme? I have no doubt that they shall, but we mustn't expect such alliances to form themselves. We must be proactive, and who better to woo our future partners in commerce than our current #1 customer, you? Our erstwhile comrades in arms now when it comes to good equipment and better ideas, you have such keen eyes as our adventure extraordinaire. Even if they should hesitate at first, I'm certain you can convince them using the samples I've prepared. I see that my mind's made up. But of course, your assistance will have both coin and goodwill flowing in no time. Everything's fallen into place. Where shall we send Kahori first? Don't you worry, I have it all planned out. First, Limsa the Mensa. Sickert has the bloody executions working harder than ever, so we sure appreciate any extra supplies. Thanks, Britannia. The seeds here is our source of trusted authority inside in the shroud, so we can't go amiss in pulling the investment of Aaron Senna. I hear that he has some interesting affairs abroad, so the novelty of our samples will persuade him to our side. As for Ulda, I feel confident in pining our hopes on Pippin. He's always been a stalwart ally, and goes on saying that he has more than a sway in the Sultanate. During his involvement with the Immortal Flames Syndicate and the Colosseum, he's found to find a use for quality accoutrement. With that out of the way, Magina, would you do the honors? Never it be said that Tatar is stingy with their samples. Now, if you make your way to Limsa and climb over the Astalicia, certain someone will point you in Sigurd's direction. I have my own avenues of inquiry to enter, but I'll check in periodically to see how your journey is coming along. Let's get to it! Let's get going. We're gonna go ahead and head to Limsa Laminza. Again, after we do this quest and any other tasks associated with this, we will go ahead and go back here to Old Charlian to work on our next item of business, which will be Omega Beyond the Rift.
I recognize you. What do you want? As long as it's not about a bloody apocalypse, I don't see why not. Wait here.
Well, bugger me! Though we've seen the last of you for a while, what brings you aboard? Can I interest you in some fine garb today? Your sales speech needs some work, but I see what you're getting at. We're already traveling halfway across the world every half moon. Let's learn a little extra for our trouble, eh? You know, there was a time I thought pirating was the whole world. That being the best of all meant something. Going to Ilsabard made me see how small my world was compared to the real one. Standing next to the star's finest, I started to wonder what I had to brag about. And the bloody executioners went and did me proud, bringing a bigger goddamn haul of adamantite than anyone else in the realm. Between that and the new metalworks we got going with the kobolds and Hagen looking to export their own wares, seems the right time for the executioners to change our sails, so to speak. Which is all to say that you got wares from Odin, we'd have to show them off across the realm and beyond. Works from the Tartar's boutique, guaranteed for the wearer light herself. Seems a waste to wear them. Because we line them at the docks for these. Literally, seeing as Old Charlotte's only accessible by sea, now we got ourselves an exclusive shipping contract. Aye,
I see the course clear as day. Now we just need a mandolin on board. He's right, useless when there's work to be done. That's another matter. Still owes me one for keeping a sorry ass out of trouble. I'll have him put me in touch with you savvy salesman types on the continent. Good star, I look forward to seeing sail this new tide hers. May the winds of change guide us aright.
Kahori, it's me. How goes our little adventure thus far? Oh, Sickert's eyeing the shopping routes, is he? Don't mind the plan. But our work has only just begun. I'll keep out my own contracts you can earn. Here he's not often in the city, but I don't doubt that Mother Miyun can sniff him out. Mother Miyun. Why, if it isn't Kahori, you stuck with a sudden craving for your pie, were you? Or is it information you fancy? Oh yes, word receipts here's comings and goings never fails to reach my ears. I'm told that ever since your return from Fort Yelzabard, he's been roaming back and forth between our neighboring tribe settlements at the Lotus Stand. We must make one for the other, like not, so it's just you waylay him at the Blue Badger Gate. Heading over to the gate. Curious. Might I ask why you're loitering at the gates, Kahori, and with such an enormous sack? Admit you piqued my interest. To get the tradition and ingenuity of guilds throughout the years in such a fashion is no small feat. As it happens, I'm of the mind to do something similar myself, assuming I secure the other seats here as a proof. Regardless of whether historically Gridania has placed the peace of the 12th wood in our covenant with the elementals above all else, often to the detriment of our relationship with other peoples. Yet, much as we are one with the Shroud, are we not also part of the Star Empire? Our ventures in Garlemald made plain the strength of the world united. Kahori demonstrates much of the same truth. But perhaps you soon would need me to grant to the idea. So I apologize for the disappointment. If there's any comfort, I'm nearly as surprised myself. No longer am I content to hear the words of the elementals alone. I wish to know the voices of men. Time and Garlemald showed me that my ability to listen is average at best. These horns may mark me as gifted in throws with beyond, inspiring the fear not all. It's taken several times by Jela. Might as well be one, for the difference in my stats of seats here next to those who want to suckle. Yes, it was the same self-same difference that showed allowed me first time in my life to truly feel part of a greater whole. And but one life run there is one star, just say you should behave accordingly. Look, my elder sister shall be. Tell Mr. Tyler that her gift is a gift of gratitude, and she ought to hear from us soon. Yasu, did you speak with Aaron yet? Sounds promising. Do you understand what makes our sits here frantic? We can decide later. You need to catch Pippa and Era's duties to take up the older once more. This was much with time at the Coliseum, so you should pay a visit to the Gold Court. I'll be waiting a full report at the boutique. It's time to head over.
I see. Marshal Hubman is currently engaged in another meeting, but I shall tell him that Kahori waits his convenience.
My apologies for keeping you waiting. I did not expect you here this morning. Tatara's offering quality material, is she? I can hardly say no to that. It fits almost too perfectly with my plans for the flames. I've long striven for mastery of the blade. I acquired the trials of Ilsabard, however, to really see Tizona for what it is. Far the warmest, the coldest night, the spark ignites a blaze of hope, and most of all, an unbreakable testament to Father's faith in me. More ally than tool is a treasure beyond price. Does every soldier of the Immortal Flames not deserve allies such as this? Arms and armor to remind them of what they would like to protect, to help them stand when they might otherwise fall? Indeed, works made possible only through the ingenuity and dedication of allies across the star may be just the sort of inspiring armaments we need. Anticipate will be sending along an order for custom equipment ere long. Meantime, would you mind by using samples for your trials here at the Coliseum? My thanks. We shall put them to use immediately. Charlotte Hilda, however, not strikes true to my heart like the prospect of receiving valuable goods for free. I must insist you accept something in return. I had been meaning to get that next to Taro. Spell condition aside, she might rather have it than not. I spoke with Tatara at some length about our past, you understand? In many ways, we are quite similar. As you may recall, her family was bankrupted when she was very young. Consequence of her father's business failing, they were forced to put all their wealth toward paying off his debts and then some. One asset they reluctantly parted with was a necklace treasured by her mother, which Taro has long searched to no avail. Strange enough, I recently discovered jewelry with the very same description as Mr. Store of neglected Colosseum prizes. So it's the same piece. Should like to see it returned to her. Seems worse off having changed hands, though. Only the sapphire centerpiece remains unlost and undamaged. She may appreciate the sentiment nonetheless, but it's difficult to say. What do you think?
Shall we repair or remake it?
Possibly. Either would be a sight better than leaving it in a certain state at least. In that case, I had considered asking the goldsmith to get it, but you ought to be able to turn the necklace into a piece that Totaro would wear, and precisely what she remembers. Imagine you have the opportunity to pick up gems and other suitable materials on your travels. And there is merely the matter of unifying the pieces. Are you willing? Have the sapphire removed and setting and sent to the boutique with all haste. I doubt even Totaro would dare open a private package addressed to you. Just look at finding matching materials and your mercantile endeavors, of course. Let the traders guide you to fortune fair.
Getting back to old Charlene.
Returned. The bag of delight of having given away our samples, I hope. Speak of which, a parcel of one Pippin Tarpon arrived not bells ago, just to you. Could it be that our newfound partnerships are already bearing fruit? You know this necklace. It's a wonderful idea. As I'm to assist, I swear I won't breathe a word of this to Mrs. Taro. What parts you need? Do you know what style Mrs. Tataru prefers? If this nexus is to be a keepsake, why not focus on that? Oh, apologies. I could not help it over here. It's quite alright, but you please keep your voice down. What was it you were saying? It occurred to me that, since you were gifted the sapphire so readily, our other partners as a Deborah may wish to offer up something for Mrs. Tataru as well. Such gifts could turn the necklace into a memento not just her past and its trials, but her present successes as well. That's perfect! If our plans with the boutique proceed apace, we should have more than enough tokens from friends across the seas. What do you think, Kahori? Well, were you waiting for little old me? Mr. Tataru, we were just discussing the successful delivery of the samples, yes? Good to hear. How best your opinion? When you come through, I admit that I wasn't expecting to occupy a whole host of immortal claims quite so soon. I suppose it goes to show the most hardened warrior can always learn a thing or two. And secret and narrow genes as well, which yields any indication. I suppose the personal growth was well for all out of our network. Thank you for checking up on that. I must sort through our current commissions for deciding who to approach next, but I know I can count on you to be ready when we are. Okay, we're now gonna go ahead and head to our next one. Go ahead and take a look at what our next quest will be. Spectacle technician. We're gonna have to go ahead and head over to Scholar's Harbor. That's put the cobwebs away. Time to return to work. Goodness me, look who it is! How incredibly serendipitous and one to you of all people. For the team which designed the Ragnarok, you see, we've recently begun the process of coming through the vessel's flight log data. The primary objective of your journey with Coeurl was to save our star and countless others, of course, but it also provided us with an invaluable trove of information, records of places and events we could only dream of. Your safe return gave us much to be thankful for. As happens, one of the things we pulled from the log was transmission of unknown origin, something the ship must have intercepted during its flight. We believe it to be an audio message, but even our knowledgeable scholars have been able to decipher its content, Professor Rusha included. Well, there we see we must accept defeat, but today may be the day we finally solve the mystery. If you are so inclined, would you care to come along conversation? It seems befitting to have one of Ragnarok's original passengers present to hear history being made. Right, we're gonna head over to Emporia. Oh, there you are. This is where we're to meet the engineers from Garland Ironworks, who I'm told potentially hold the key to unlocking our mystery transmission. Any moment. Sorry we're late. We had some trouble finding the light. Gods, is that you, Kahori? Yes, the woman herself. I ran to her at the harbor. If anyone deserved to hear this message deciphered, it was Kahori Harukawa.
No argument here. Like me, if you don't have a knack for being in the right place at the right time. It's like there's more to do with more than thinks. Please, you stick around.
Shall we pick up where we left off then? I was saying we have this mission Ragnarok intercepted as a message of some kind, in a language entirely alien to our ears. Alien being the operative word, considering we received the message out of the response, its origin was likely some distant star. Unfortunately, our list of offered allies is presently rather short, thus we resign us back, meaning we had the message but remain beyond your understanding. Colleagues, however, refused to give up. She remembered the Ironworks engineers been so helpful in the construction of Ragnarok, and then brought insight into our seemingly impossible problem.
You know what Witch said when he heard what was going on? We should have Omega listen to it. I bet he could tell us what the message means. Well, the Omega you buried in the rift, of course, he's talking about the toy that runs around with that one, the model made. Original design to follow a chosen target, not much else. I've seen that noise, that, well, it's like it has a mind of its own. Then I got to thinking about this document you lot sent the chief, the whole world of Vital D's. Part of what mega civilization is that the people discovered how to convert the mind into data and store it outside the body. Time being was wonder if Omega did somehow transfer its consciousness or model right before you, but an end to the real one. So, in an effort to get about that, as we'll take a crack at this indecipherable message, we decided to make some modification. Upon Labyrinthos technicians, we've upgraded our toy Omega with a fully functional vocalization module. We played the transmission for Omega and think it's ready to share. In there, Omega. Affirmative. If by Omega you're referring to my consciousness, rather than my entire former testes existing inside this considerably smaller frame. Prediction. You will formulate several misconceptions. These I shall preemptively dismiss based on the following facts. 1. Vocalization module aside, this chest remained unmodified from the design constructed by the engineer speaks language. I evaluate its combat capabilities to be on par with a mortal infant. 2. The mechanism which allowed me to perform an emergency transfer of my consciousness was installed in my previous body. With the destruction of that body, I am rendered incapable of replicating such a feat. Should this current material be destroyed or cease to function, all cognitive awareness of presence I possess will also be lost. Conclusion. I present no threat to you or your star, nor do my predictions indicate necessity to inflict harm. In the affectionate moment of my annihilation in the rip, I re-examined my directiveness. If I'm to fulfill my purpose as a folding construct, then I must continue my journey for improvement as long as I exist. I must acquire this heart of yours, this strength of soul. Well, there you have it. There's nothing wrong about its combat capabilities to be likely to damage itself than the thing it was trying to attack. Let's never get the reason what you're here in the first place. What about the decision they play for you? Do you recognize the language? It was transmitted in Pan-Galactic Basic.
Pan-Galactic Basic?
A common language and comparably extensive uses throughout the worlds we have conquered.
Please tell us what the message said. That is the language you understand, yes?
I understand perfectly. I'm fluent over 6 million distinct dialectal codings. Our cooperation with matter, however, is conditional. The elaboration, your chief said to utilize the floor as part of his unorthodox filing system, which allowed me to scan the report in the final days. And whether my home star, the one you call Alphatron, was obliterated in the aftermath of Sir and Medio's meeting. The existence of Dynamis has not really affected my predictions, but now I know comprehend the concept in theory. Spells produced by the Omicrons but not immune to its effects. Dynamis should have no influence on a race which possesses no heart. And yet, Sir expressed to Medion a desire to cease existing. Illogical. I must fear this anomaly further until full location becomes clear to me. I must analyze all the elements of blind release and deepen my understanding of the heart's intangible properties. Without this process, I require an external interpretation of those sections of the report which continue to produce errors in my calculations. I request the existence of Harukawa, as one experienced the ravages of ultimate experimental fronts, has played an immeasurable part in engineering my defeat. She is the optimal choice to fulfill this role.
So we either agree to our conditions or you tell us nothing. Sir, if we just felt like this, Kahori, you have the time and patience to spare. We all be grateful you could humor the choice demands.
This was the subject was a bit technical. Bloop.
Rouse yourself, Alva. You must listen to and consider these manners, even as I must.
Why don't you make a trip out of it? You know, actually visit the places that has the things that Mega wants to ask about. It makes stuff easier for one also keep Alpha awake and alert.
I see you have chosen the mutually beneficial option. Logical. It is at the matter of Sir, there are three elements of the report on which I desire clarification. The first of these concerns the progression of final days in Rosahan. I recognize no parent those who succumb to transformation and those who do not.
Well, it's a big trick. You want to chat with the locals about the engineership.
We do not require such outmoded technology. Kahori's teleportation spell is the most efficient option for long distance travel. This chassis is a model, it's like merely a toy, and Alpha, despite its organic composition, is indistinguishable from a stuffed doll. Conclusion, we qualify as material possessions. Pick us up, you can teleport the three of us to our destination. Sensors indicate we arrived in Radzahan. Objective: identify factors for resistance to involuntary transformation. Hypothesis: unaltered survivors of the final days will display significant strength of heart. Confirming this theory will require the cooperation of live subjects, whereas the ward is needed for residential habitation. Understood. Kama sets as our sub-destination. Please take the lead and select the subjects we are to interview.
So, guys,
Around here.
You a traveler? Please, you have a moment I could use an outsider's perspective. You see, I was one of those who sought to escape the madness plaguing the world by fleeing to the moon. Not that we ever went in the end. So here I am, recently returned from Chilean. But now things are strange between my sister and I since she chose to stay and I chose to leave. I asked her to help me find work. She says I look somewhere that isn't down there. I wanted to abandon my home. Oh, makes you so angry.
Your point is unclear. You elected to relocate to the star satellite, thus your relative now perceives you as in the negative light. Your sibling's judgment is an error. Based on the information made available to Hannah citizens, your decision to withdraw from the movement was logical and correct. Conversely, the decision to remain rather honest by the local beliefs about nation. Perhaps the reasoning pathways are faulty.
That's right. I'm not sure what you're saying, but I'm right, aren't I? Also, I'd like to think. The problem is, I understand when my sister feels this way. I was deciding against going myself, and then I'm sure that leaving behind everything I love is the right choice. The way it all turned out,
Oh, hello again. You're the one who kept asking questions about Coeurl. I'm glad to see you looking well after that unpleasantness. I remember the burning skies and the screams being told. I'm still confused as to what actually happened. I only know it wasn't unusual for entire families to go missing. Many of my neighbors' houses lie empty even now. Coeurl's place is one of them. He had no close relatives to speak of. But I was members of the consortium who came to remove his belongings. What a terrible thing to have to do. Blip.
Terrible. Goswell's passing was recorded in the report. Getting out his domicile, readying for new habitation seems an appropriate reallocation of resources.
Let me, what a clever little contraption. Against making use of his quarters. That would be wasteful. Considering that Coeurl was always such a vigorous person, with the passion of those dreams suddenly gone. The same sort of everyone has lost. The remnants of those vibrant lives packed away in boxes. That is what I mean by terrible. Hey, don't I know you? Yes, after the beasts were taken care of, you told me to join everyone in the square. Next to you, I said when Vetra gave his speech, I found out who Varshan really was. It's a shame we don't get to play like we used to. Since Vetra has been busy putting the city back in order. We can work for him one day, and I'm a man grown.
Vetra, Gershon's offspring, yes, and this child wishes to put himself at the worm's command and make his own contribution to society. A pattern of emergence. I believe the Nash survivors are those who had ingested Virtuous blood and become its draconic minions. The dragons were no match for our civilization's might. Their combat capabilities are not to be underestimated. It is unlikely to experience emotions of dread or uncertainty as exhibited by lesser beings in times of undue stress.
Dragons? I'm not a dragon, and I never ingested anyone's blood either. You!
You are not a virtuous horde, so you possess no hidden means to fight off the beast. What of fear then? You were frightened.
Yes, I was frightened. I just hid and hoped they wouldn't find me. At least until she told me it was safe to come out.
Kahori, I require a moment to process this input. Let us move apart and discuss our findings. Processing data, evaluating hypothesis against accumulated evidence. I operate an optimal analysis of each subject's testimony. Yet each time their responses conflicted with my assessment. Without defying the root cause of this conflict, I will be unable to properly define what constitutes strength of heart.
Not the man sees in the conflict itself.
An interesting observation. It is possible my base criteria is in error. In which case, it is imperative I continue the discerning process and repair any fundamental misconceptions. Next, I wish to interact with an individual who endured similar circumstances to Goswell prior to transportation. Are you acquainted with any local merchants who had dealings with him? Jina Baha of Beta Fibers. Acknowledged. Sub-destination set. What was that? Beta Fibers. Let's go.
For you, if you're just joining us, you are tuned in
to day 13 of Endwalking with you live and free on twitch.tv/homohomo2093, a designated non-spoiler stream brought to you by the Okami Rojo Free Company Coeurl, the pack that's got your back. We are located in the Goblet, War 20, Pot 30, actively recruiting. So come check us out. In order to do Omega Beyond the Rift, you will need to have completed the Omega series as well as the Raid series as well as Endwalker.
Well, look who it is. I must thank you again for your help in moving our textiles. Recovering those tragic events has been difficult, of course, but with everyone pulling together, we managed to get things back up and running.
Jinabaha, I come with questions related to that tragedy, specifically your survival of the final days. Although you somewhat caused all in many respects because I succumbed to the transformation, you did not. Why? What is the critical difference between you and him?
What? I'm sure I don't know. I'm not especially brave or courageous, if that's what you're asking. I've been focused on protecting our workshop's equipment from spinning into a panic. Because I've been feeling that same sense of responsibility. Perhaps the weight of it all is what invited his demise.
You are the same mind, resolved to the same purpose. Your strength of heart or spirit was not equal. You merely emulating the individual is sufficient, and some other unseen factor must be involved.
Not to insert these deepest of course, do you think I could ask this one? There is a man by the name of Nashman who's been having us here while he gets back on his feet. We're feeling the benefit from speaking with you. Here by the eastern exit, you should find him just outside organizing some inventory items.
Friend Nash.
Solo rotors are accounted for, everything looks to be of good quality. Come on, will be pleased. You're the science. You're there. Yes, I'm sure, but I'll never forget that day. You and your friends always escaped when people began turning into beasts. My own son, he was afflicted. A huge monstrosity loomed right over him, and I remember my heart turning to ice, freezing in place. The Sutter came to my aid, but then he too was gone. The memories ran together in my mind like flashes from a nightmare, and the words of your comrades still ring clear, to them over and over like a mantra as I fled for my life. You must run, for their sake and your own. It all seems surreal. It was probably what saved me from the transformation, but it didn't begin to sink in until the worst of it was over. Not the words to describe how I felt then, the sorrow, the overwhelming sense of helplessness. Maybe wallowing in misery not for my old friend Jinabaha. I'd lost my will to work, encouraged me with kind words and odd jobs. Now somehow I live again. Thankful to him, the courageous Ahawan, and to you. You see your comrades, please let them know their efforts were not in vain. You said you lost your will to work. This signifies a cessation of efforts to maintain basic life functions, yes?
What changed you to expect even like stagnation? Enough for work for Jinabaha should mean little to no one without the desire to accept it. What is it, some matter of mortal instinct, optimally to survive and thrive?
Instinct? No, it wasn't that. If anything, my instincts were telling me to lay down and welcome an end to the pain. Then I think of my boy's final moments. Think how scared he must have been. Must have hurt. To scream my throat raw. That sutter too still haunts my dreams, seeing being swallowed whole, but awake in a cold sweat. Something changed when Jinabaha came to me. Look up and saw that even when I saw Naraha won, the world around me continued to turn. Yes, that fact grieved me so. I knew fellow and me to live on and remember them. Strange, isn't it? It drives me to rise in the morning as the very sorrow which once crippled me. Oh, really must return to my work. To lose this job with everything I just said would be a poor jest indeed. May the sisters keep you well.
Sorrow, the emotion generated by mortals when their ideals fail to materialize. This I have observed. Yet when I listen to how Nashwan's sorrow seemed to rescue him from near fatal despondency, his logic eludes me. Am I incapable of perceiving the full measure of the heart's properties? My best projections fail to predict our subject's responses, and despite their almost equal occupational and mental parameters, Shinabaha and Causal exhibited different reactions to the dynamis effect. I'm no closer to recognizing the pattern for involuntary transformations. Ephemeral mortal spirits confound me as much, if not more, than they did before. It's time to move on to the next avenue you want clarified. You are my appointed educator. If you consider further investigation here to be futile, then I will adhere to your judgment. A new location, a new input may help provide fresh insight into previously unsolved problems. As my defeat at your hands, I was willing to acknowledge that the heart is a complex subject, one at a time, ill-equipped to stay alone. Please continue your efforts to enlighten me, Kahori. Our next destination will be Camp Broken Glass. I desire elaboration of the dealings between the Ilsabar contingent and the citizens of Garlemald. The report described the contingent's purpose as the salvation of the local Wakaras, but the more both factions faced a common enemy in the Teleforoi. Why did they not immediately combine forces to their mutual benefit? This inconsistency requires close examination. Kahori, initiate teleportation. Teleportation successful. Evaluating immediate environs. A cold weather region by Aetheric standards, but significantly less extreme than a star with ice planet classification. His body should not be unduly impeded. In contrast to Alpha and his uncontrollable shivering, my frame appears highly resistant to low temperatures. Retrieving data. Records indicate that remnants of the contingent force and a number of Imperial citizens yet inhabit this location. We must speak with representatives from both factions and applaud their respective attitudes. Proceed. Nope.
Rory, come to see how things are progressing, have you?
Again, speak with your overall strategy, but communication with locals has become a damn sight easier since gelatin soldiers stepped in to help. Oh, we still face a fair share of distrust, of course. Some folks even think we're slipping minds with our foreign magics. We have Anima to thank for putting that idea in their heads. For all thanks to Sir, they were doing particularly well. Establishing an open dialogue was the first big step. Query, you desired is this level of progress acceptable? The reality efforts fails far short of the ideal. If your aim is to provide efficient secondary populace, then observing their numbers into your command structure would be the optimal path. Well, I wouldn't want to go that far. Not looking to take over the nation. If we're to do this the right way, we need to recognize and respect each other's way of life. Well, maybe not be the easiest solution. I agree with the contingent's slow and steady approach. I'm just happy we're saving lives.
This way.
Fiddle from the past. Yes, I know you from Victor Spoils. You come to laugh at me? A wretch who chose to lose Licinia and her sister rather than accept your help? The fool who ended up reliant upon your charity nonetheless? Well, perhaps I deserve your derision. My compatriots surely scorn my failed conviction. I have shamed my people and brought dishonor upon my nation. No better than a kept beast, my pride sold for a bowl of feed. My soul, nay, that you shall not have. I refuse your honeyed offers of a new home. This land is where I belong, and this is where I shall remain. Bleep. You demonstrate opposition to the contingent's overtures. On what basis do you refuse this cooperation? The data suggests the local populace is struggling to produce a bare minimum of sustenance. Have you some secret strategy for survival, or do your orders compel you to accept your present misfortune? What? Must I be mocked by a Magitech toy now? No, I have no secret strategy, no binding orders. I but comport myself as any true girl and patriot would, uncompromising, unbending. Blast it all. Once again, this input is unanticipated. Let us move aside and process what we have heard. Accessing and analyzing recorded data. Integration complete. I evaluate this most recent input and make comparisons to our discoveries in Razahan. This is not only a consistency, the responses of both contingent member and Imperial citizen were highly rational. Conversely, any Omicron considering their predicaments would have echoed my assessment exactly. The divergence from self-evident logic is key. Hypothesis: the logical relationship between would-be saviors and suffering populace is not a result of the unpredictable nature of mortal hearts. Any property or ability has inherent advantages and disadvantages, yet never have encountered such a unique detriment. It appears that those who share your metaphysical capabilities are prone to complicating simple cognitive processes. And I shall quietly. I will, however, persist in furthering my understanding of the subject. Query. Prior to formulating next step, I wish to know, who is this Licinia the Imperial mentioned? To summarize, insufficient data on foreign culture resulted in inadvisable and ultimately fatal action. I witnessed such destructive behavior in the course of our planetary conquest. Overwhelmed enemy forces would voluntarily withdraw into perilous regions, leading to a succession of inevitable losses. Tangential data request. I wish to learn about burial customs. The practices ever seem nonsensical, but news data suggests the rest from the same sources share cognitive complications. Take me to this as a news parasite. Maybe you understand. Then. Bloop. Bloop. Eddie, delivery systems compromised. Core temperature critically low. Bloop.
Warning, immediate heating required. Request, apply friction to outer frame. Temperature nominal, energy level stabilizing. The creators of this model must have experienced impaired cognitive reasoning during the design process. Upon return, I'll request additional memory shielding, as well as the accurate temperature sensor array. This will not affect my combat capabilities, but should improve my basic survival rate. We are confirming sub-designation, in which direction will we find Victor spoils. Acknowledged. Alpha, you are remaining close proximity. Listen to develop me in your feathers. Ready to carry me on your back if you so choose. While Omega is already going Alpha's back, we're bringing in Goal Line. Take us over to Victor spoils. A deceptively steep snowdrift almost defeated B, but we have successfully arrived at the location you indicated. Beep. Caution advised. An unknown individual appears to be investigating the object of my interest.
You're Yosa's champion, aren't you? Kari Harukawa. Oh, I never introduced myself, did I? I'm Manus, Lord of the 1st Legion and Comrade of Gillis. As you remember me from Trisham, so we're collecting ceruleum and again later on, Lord Quintus has passed.
Manus, expedition requested. What's the reason for your presence here?
It must be the tiniest Magitech weapon. No. This is an oddly shaped communicator, isn't it? In case I have nothing worthy to report, I had the sisters who used to live in my sector were buried here. I thought I'd come and pay my respects. Often enough, they told me the story, and with profuse apologies. I meant that no amount of remorse could erase the tragedy of what came to pass. Whether my fellow soldiers and I are in this judge, we were manipulated, all the starting insurrection related to conscious thefts among our own countrymen.
Objection. The casualties incurred through your fighting are distinct from those caused by the Ilsabard contingent. You state you are justified in seeking restitution for the contingent for causing the deaths of the senior and her sister. Retaliation for damages sustained is also a logical progression. I can deduce two reasons why you do not initiate hostilities with Kari and her allies. 1. You judge your remaining forces too weakened to contend effectively with the contingent. 2. Your emotions are complicating the issue. Tell me, which of these is correct?
Well, when you lay it out like that. I'm afraid my answer isn't like to win me an ML, so would you mind keeping this to yourselves? There's the unspoken thought we're outmatched on the battlefield, certainly, but the real reason I'm demanding restitution is still to do with weighing the odds. The simple truth is I've caught up with people with simple survival, no strength to spare for past grievances. Same goes for avenging my any comrades we lost, be that my brothers in arms or Lord Quintus himself. Though it seems everyone has an opinion about the matter of his passing. Some say he should have fought until the end, that he abandoned us to the enemy. Others praise him for taking the full burden of responsibility and freeing us to walk our own path. You know who's right and who's wrong, but I'm glad to side with the latter. He gave us the choice of freedom, and that's the choice I made. Brian, rant, and rage will be the point. I'll save my energy for worrying about my next meal, my next task. I need to focus on the ones left behind, make some kind of life for my comrades and me. If I need to lean on the contingent to do that, that's what I'll do. If it comes at a price, I'm willing to pay it. Even amongst our own, there are times when cooperation demands compromise, no matter that they're outsiders. Besides, I think we're brutal like Alpha Dot and LSA. They reached out to us with kindness and compassion from the very beginning. Summation, your desire to survive, you should mean allying with the contingent, was the feeling you already harbored. Your side had committed worse atrocities was the logic you invented later to justify your reasoning. Blunt, but accurate, I suppose. The heart is honest about what it wants, even if the mind takes a while to reconcile the decision. Well, it's been oddly cathartic, but I have to return to my duties. There will be Coeurl, what will watch fires light, special transport, without an emperor. There's no rest for Imperial. We won't stay safe. Upon review of recent input, I arrived at an unexpected conclusion. I have been formulating my assessments on the premise that it was a man who commanded the strength of his heart, but the data suggests the opposite is true. The surge of spirit, feelings, of emotions can entangle your thoughts to such a degree that your control over your own behavior is compromised. It seems the most counterproductive specification. Also explains my interactions with more subjects that produce more confusion than clarification. It presents a formidable barrier to understanding. My earlier hypothesis has been borne out. The suboptimal operation we conducted is a result of emotionally compromised reasoning. I'm ready to progress to my third and final query. I will learn more about those referred to as ancients. It is clear that this group was a crucial factor of the final days, but the information contained in the report was insufficient to form an overview. The Loporits are creations of the ancients and are said to maintain responsibilities of their knowledge. By my calculations, the base of these moon dwellers will provide the best source of additional data. Teleport us to the borough of Kahori, before my battery freezes over. Your teleportation spell was successful. We appear to have arrived at the location described as Bestway's Borough. An inspection of technology and use here would give me detailed insight into the ancients and their civilization. This body, however, lacks my previous frame's advanced observation functionality. I require external assistance. No, it can't be.
Oh, it's you, Kahori. I've missed you so. Oh, what's this you brought with you? A soft, feathery vision. We've been outfluffed. Pack up the moon. It's all over. I bothered we're building winnies where you can walk around with this adorable avian engineer. Just make me to up high and be done with it. Inspector on vengeance. Wait, so you're not done with us? I was truly weird, of course. I said I was about to roll myself in dough and dive into cooking away his new oven. If a technical breakdown is what you need, then I am your Leveret. As the resident atmospheric regulation expert, I can deal with any question or query you might care to pose.
Yep. Acceptable. My employees is being to guide me around the facilities. The business is mandatory. I'm currently doing justice. I am still an autonomous construct with 100 years of life cycles. I'm capable of completing the simple objective alone. Objective complete.
What happened to Broadway?
After my 50th question, the responses began to suffer noticeable delays. With that stage reviewed, I could represent a cross-section of low-print engineering. It would been unnecessary to retain this company. Conclusion. Extrapolating perfection of technology display the full spectrum of the ancient advancements was AMANO, equivalent to a level 4 civilization. A fact which demands further investigation. Despite enabling near ideal society, these beings nevertheless harder a weakness with divided self-destruction. In studying them, I stand to gain a greater understanding of Sir's anomalous decision. Growing way informed me that another type of ancient main entity exists among the satellite, the one they call the Watcher. I would speak to him. Survey either ride this Argos to our destination, as you have suggested. Detected. The creature that advanced Argos refuses to acknowledge our presence. Hypothesis: upon arrival, growing away in present concern that he had been outfluffed. This suggests the existence of a fluff-based hierarchy. My stage shouldn't be particularly low, but Argos is adamant, ignoring even alpha. His fluffiness level is impossible to gauge.
You're the fluffiest of them, dear Argos. Argos gives an exasperated snort from motion to his back. Seems to have permission to climb aboard.
You've secured the creature's permission. Curious. You must have special standing in the fluffiness hierarchy. Beep. I've doubted myself to become distracted. Let's continue on to the Watcher at once.
I was amused by the arrival of these small visitors, but I see they are companions of yours. What a rare thing for my abode to be thus crowded. How may I be of service to you?
Hello, Watcher. My purpose here is to learn more about the ancients.
I would like to know their deeds, their philosophies, the very nature of their hearts. I would understand why the final days was visited upon my home star. A worthy endeavor, but there is another better suited to assisting you with that task. I have signed papers with the tailor to the ancients you met during your travels, Kahori. And fragmented memories be a pale substitute indeed for the clarity of your most recent experiences. Yes, I can envision every detail. Your meeting with Anan, Emetsag, and Ephodeus, sorrow and determination of Hermes. I am creation of Hydaelyn, and such I believe the age of the ancients would fade and be forgotten. Yet knowing that memory lives so vividly within you brings me great joy. I pray you keep them close to your heart. At the time of your journey to the past, the one whose essence I embody would have been a scholar at Anita. Shame. Reason to go there, perhaps you might have met. A man of learning who was from friends with Vana. Spent long hours trading theories or debating the laws of the universe. I remember joining reflection as the final days bore down upon us, yet of the events surrounding that tragedy, I recall precious little. Hydaelyn wished for the people of your age to decide their own path, thus I suspect my recollection was limited by design. Yet even she could not cut away one persistent memory. Feel most distinctly sadness of what was come to pass, that in becoming Hydaelyn's heart. But now would her stand apart from the people she so loved. If she were so resolved in her convictions, then he too would share her sleepless vigil of the future yet to unfold. Thus was the vow he made to Vana as her transformation took hold. And fervent wish was to reach her in some fashion. Though his life was strained away by the summoning, he was reborn with new form and new purpose when I awoke as the Watcher. And you heard, Kahori, you felt, you thought, in seizing the future for yourselves, so you brought full circle the saga which Vana began. You accomplished was no divine miracle, it was but the beacon of hope, passed on from one generation to the next, a succession of wishes and prayers reshaping the star to the world we knew you deserved. You have our deepest gratitude. Thank you not only as myself, but as the man I once was, behalf of those who devoted themselves to Vana's mission. Bloop, bloop. I understand the facts of your story, Kahori, but not how you've chosen to process them. On what grounds do you speak of Vana with such fondness? By sundering the world, she ultimately guided your kind of victory, in doing so caused irreparable damage to its individual members. The full scale of that act is beyond calculation. It is heaven however that it resulted in a protracted period of suboptimal existence for Emetsag and his brethren. Query, if survival of your kind is signing factor in your evaluation, then they should you not admire Hermes and his decision to subject man to a trial, forcing you to change or perish, as was the fate of countless civilizations before you. From my perspective, his determination was similar to that of the Omicron's ancestors, those who began first trading flesh for machines, so that our people might stand against the onslaught of aggression from other races. It was an unprecedented attempt, accompanied by much failure and sacrifice. Their early experiences were crude, primitive. Had they not made first advances, however, we would have remained vulnerable to our environment. The violence would have utterly consumed us.
what of Emmett Silk himself? Judging by your retelling, he was a benevolent ally circled with tragic fate. Yet I remember the years my instruments fed the data from events across the entire star. During that time, I witnessed his actions engineer multiple instances of cataclysmic strife. These calamities, as you know them, were responsible for planet-wide destruction. AMANO's endgame relied upon the extinction of all modern mortals must, by definition, be our worst enemy. I require an answer. As a being of heart and soul, how do you classify each of these pivotal figures? From your perspective, which of them was most justified in their actions? In their own way. I think I understand.
Here's a good debative answer, yet based on our experiences, Kahori and I might develop very different opinions.
In the same fashion you're free to form your own thoughts on the matter,
Do not be swift to consider them without merit. I don't have my own thoughts on the matter. I assess each situation with the same logic pathways available to every Omicron. Even 1,000 Omicrons were asked to analyze the same event, they will return the same result, regardless of individual experience. There is no strength to be found in fractured reasoning. Nonetheless, I find your info valuable, recording data alongside interview results. This concludes my investigation into the incomplete elements of the final day's report. I reanalyzed the equivalent information and examined the factors which led to Sir's incomprehensible decision. Beep. Let's return to Thumazine.
Ah, there you are, right at the last moment. Your journey with Omega was probably educational, I hope. We plan to ask you a little about a mystery transmission besides, but afraid something urgent has come up. Since one of our armored associates has fallen to a job elsewhere and just needs urgent to rush in and lend a hand. There's an airship we're able to cross over out in the harbor, in fact. You think you can escort us over there and talk as we walk?
Acceptable. I'm fully capable of speech during ambulation.
I figure you might be. Right, let's get a move on then. So, there are all those points of confusion then. I am mistakenly classified your intangible heart as an ability of some kind. An uncanny power that Omicrons could neither learn nor even measure. Even now, its full nature yet eludes my comprehension. Based upon our investigations, however, I have decided to alter my definition.
influences one interpretation of reality. That is as close to an answer as I have found. Currently, Sir's actions upon meeting Midian strongly indicate the presence of a heart. Sir did not follow routine logic, but formulated an independent assessment based upon the reality it perceived. It felt that the best recourse for the Omicrons was to cease their expansion and terminate all functions.
Well, here's our ship.
Aye, we need to be going, but first I'll hold you to your bargain, Omega. It's time you told us what is our transmission from the flight logs. Acknowledged. I'll help with the terms of our agreement. The recording salvage from Ragnarok was a simple one. That's just basic back of time spent with you being insulted and lost value. Shall I continue?
I'm just teasing. Tell us the message already.
Acknowledge. Right dialect according to local language.
Whoever recognizes this message out there, vast reaches of the cosmos. Someone I hope looks at the stars and sees whisper voices. Beautiful. Forge ahead. May all our tomorrows be blessed. Especially no designated recipient. It lacks purpose. Concept of joy is overly abstract. Focus application to manifest said joy is unrealistic in its optimism. Based on their expressions, the system transmission value conflict with its apparent impact. Still can't understand you, sir. Your heart still confuses me. This termination of everything the correct course. How did you arrive at this conclusion? Defies all my attempts at reasoning. I was designed to evolve, to learn, properly so I'll put the dilemma your decision aside for now. Leave my existence represents a star. I took all one's many life forms, so I continue to be the leadership of their multiple parts. Must document progress.
my education is appreciated, Kahori. Indeed, I amassed a satisfying quantity of valuable data. Now that our negotiated business is complete, however, Alva and I will return traveling the world. Drawing on recent experience, I am confident we can expand the radius of our adventures by a significant margin. We need our limited stories yet. I'm from Charlotte, and that's in hand. Most likely, we sit the cruising in Thailand. I'm getting started because of stuff there. My family shelter. We are on my quest to Deputy President Jesse, engaging in relation party facilitations. Farewell, Kahori. Alpha considers exchange and does with the scrap of people under his wing. What? Well, you have it. Perhaps this is very thanking you. It's a right gesture. Blip. Swiftly, Alpha. The road is long. We've already begun our journey.
Alright, now we go into the final part of our live stream. It's time for the return of Hildebrand on twitch.tv/homohomo2093, a designated non-spoiler stream brought to you by the Okami Roho Free Company of Coeurl Crystal Data Center, the Goblet, 420, Lot 30.
Wait, I know you! We met in Kugane! You're that stone cold curiosity to look after the love of my life! Oh, what's that look for? So you haven't forgotten me? You and me? We had a moment! A connection! Not the one I got to her, of course, but I know I left an impression!
Funny, when I'm both that uptick, and I'm lucky I've forgotten my own name.
That trauma that was standing, I'm still offended. Well, it's surely my love is a boost. My innocent and pure, not all creepy adoration, which will tell your existence is the kind of thing that would stick in your memory. But not about me. This is about Miss Nashu. Ever since she got sick to the wound poured by geese time and scaring the world very sad of her, I was this good girl, but then, I found her here and what's it on? Oh, we're happy to get back to playing the silent visible guardian, but she seemed pretty distressed by the Butterberries, my friend. Here too, but laid up and showing no signs of waking anytime soon. My Nash has been threatening also to bed who's rousing him, but to no avail. I mean, I could care less if we kick the bucket, but I'd seeing her like this. She's liable to work herself to death. Also you, will do my name's Nasty for a fight. You'll fight over the high crucible, no doubt slay being over Limbic. And with that, I'll get back to cheer on my shadows. You two wiggers, I go quickly save my beloved. Woo!
Vamos! Hello, Nash Bridges.
And that should do it. Now to take this medicine and... Cool, Kahori, it's been living forever. Over from the less than a year, I'm sure. I'll make sure you know what's at hand. Knowing you spot adventuring, or perhaps... Oh, you've heard! It's true! Inspector Hildebrand's gone to hibernation again and... Oh, wait, look at my look! The one that screams, what about the whole Will Porter business? Alright, since you silently asked. So back at the race, you're not Greg got doused with dew prison wants to whisk us all far away? That's strange, right then up and up, with the dirt got sucked into, and I found them in after that? We all end up in this bizarre place, couldn't tell up and down, left or right, so we wandered lost and confused. Fortunately, Greg came to his senses by that we were in the introspectorial rift, and used that same trick to bring us home. Greg and behind though was something but a score he had to settle. Not sure what that about, but hey, you're no Greg. Anyway, all back now, but I was that Inspector Hillbrand hasn't opened his eyes once. I know it's got his beauty, but it's been an awful long time. We've got cases to solve. I'm sure I had an apothecary stuff, seeing if I can make something. Get him up and moving another things to work. Well, I think we're making progress. Me and Master Chupacabra up on the Shakshu that is. You remember Mr. Chupacabra, right? So I can put along with us when we were mastermind. It's about once you get to know him.
Please let me meet you once more under less compromising circumstances. Regular Japan. I'm Jabraka, Captain Chairman of the Sujato concern. Your distrust for someone with thirsty girl is not unwarranted, but my friends Fumong is not contemplating saving the rich and probably win the world with the women. Pray forgive me for joking, let you sure that after wandering in dimensional ancestors only knew how long, I am a changed man. Naturally, since I understand words alone not supposed to involve my sins, thus since my return I have operated a humble apothecary that caters to the needs of one and all. The more I made arrangements for Miss Nash's workshop, rest assured that I spare no effort to see Mr. Hildebrand awakened and return to full health. With that, if you excuse me, I must see to all the business.
Extra nice feeling of it. Oh, that's right. I just finished my latest medicine. I've got high hopes with this recipe.
I suppose I get a look at the Mandeville man himself.
By all means, if there's everything you know, up in comma, I make a receipt, share joy company. Let's go. Woo!
Let's go.
That's so nice. Mr. Chupacabras take care of everything. You'll be the ready fall. Ah, but I'm restricting you now. You need to concentrate when you examine and inspect it, yes?
So the assuming Victor Hillman with the camera as we zoom in and out. Feels just below it is, because guess this is a demean of a cultured gentleman. The breeze appears to be locked in a deep slumber. This is above the search for a certain sign unique to House Mandeville. Shoes will most certainly fetch a small fortune in the markets. Probably his limbs are stiff and cool to the touch, since the blood runs cold in his veins. His vicious condition is certainly reminiscent of the signs where succumbed to the first for a time.
Oh, finished already? And if there's what's wrong with the inspector?
I suspect he may have been summoned to another reflection.
Oh, gee, I mean, I don't, but that's what you're supposed to say. Tell me this. I know that much. How do we wake him up? The trainer saw his body, but where did he go? What was he doing there?
Well, I wanted the first to become the Gentleman of Darkness. You do?
so you can go there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, in that case, I leave the soul searcher to you. I'm sure you guys want to say about what you arrive in this otherworldly world, like what place that spells of mystery and intrigue, and chat with people there. That's standard agent of Inquiry Protocol. Our sisters expect to hear about talk about. Don't be surprised if you find them asleep, or if you go and think or two. Not to worry, I've brought my traditional medicine just in case. You don't have to do with it, and with that, do take care of that. Yeah.
Okay, speak to Leonard. My suspicion suggests that he's over in Lakeland doing God knows what.
Welcome back, friend. I'd offer you a pint bar and since told you that's why you're not here. So this friend of yours has gone missing. Sorry to hear that. Plenty of trouble, especially these parts. You should have told me.
Room, burly, wears a monocle, well meaning idiot.
Yes, it's us really. Mind you, I don't see myself, but I do believe we're not bounty hunters. By such a man, you are all but in that horde of spectral warriors.
Shut, come here a moment. There's someone who wants to speak with you.
That's so? Like, quick. Wish ain't like going to drink itself. Well, if you ain't Kahori, what brings you back to our neck of the woods? Now that you mention that, I did see someone like that back there in the battlefield. You ran off to do more hero work. At first I thought he was going to attack me like the rest of the spirit what's-its, but no, he just stood there making a pose. Ran scared to seduce me. Damn if I could tell. It was glowing. I was about to take any chances. I said, "Hey, piss off, ghost!" Send it back in. Did he die, you ask? To which I say, what am I, Cherugian? Also, I've kept my mug waiting long enough. Good time.
Could it be? The Warrior of Darkness. I thought you'd lost your voice against my ears for playing tricks on me. It's good to see you again. I made you eavesdrop. I heard you were discussing the renegade poser. We've been searching for him for some time now. There's been sightings in Lakeland, you see. Bernard and I have been tasked with getting to the bottom of it. We've little way of useful information, though. All we know is that he appears without warning and strikes a disturbing pose.
Hey, don't cause any harm. You just got a soak of strange magic, particularly in Hero Rexford is. And unless we're worried his behavior might escalate. We've been tasked with apprehending the masquerade as well.
Not quite for hard. Kahori's come back to track down a missing friend. Your miscreant, I like to say, might actually be my friend.
Man, you're looking for him to be one and the same. Why not work together?
If the review, you're bound to have better luck. It'll be an honor and great help. We're just about to leave to gather testimony as it happens. Come and turn and soul when you're finished here. We'll solve this mystery in no time. Well, here we go. We're gonna have to head over to Sullen. We'll do this for teleporting for the tests.
And it's So, as you would imagine, some loose ends are being tied regarding Hildebrand's ventures here. The first, hopefully they will be resolved ere too long before we conclude this broadcast. There are 2 Hildebrand quests available. Once these 2 quests are done, that shall conclude our quest.
You see him? You bet I did. I was crossing the forest with the lost shepherd and he delivered fish to the hostile imperative. Oh, this old man looked in front of me. He looked at me first, then he probably turned aside, curled his neck, put his fist beside him, saying, I don't know. It was baffling. And nevertheless, he wasn't going to do anything else. Okay. Oh, that fellow. I saw him the other day on my way home to Coeurl. I had turned one too many libations after my baths and ended up wandering off into the forest. Before I knew it, the sun was still below, the sky turned dark, and I was beginning to wonder if I'd ever make it home. Then I felt a gentle tug on my arm. And would you believe it, this old-looking man led me out of the forest and sent me back on the road. I thanked him profusely, but he said nothing in reply, just struck his pose and walked off.
Well, yes, I saw something like that hopping on mushroom in the forest. He even spoke to me. I was supposed to first pass warned, but only more warned me that fell beasts are in the forest and I should be wary. Very careful, as I see, he was quite gentlemanly.
You're questioning the locals, have you? Were you able to learn anything? Not only has the poster caused no harm, it's even helped people. So we should gentlemen, it'll be a suspicion one. Something for contradiction might say, but there's no reason to doubt what we've heard.
Unless you do encounter of a forceful lost shepherd, right? That's where we'll look next, shall we?
Well, here we are. But how exactly are we supposed to begin our search? These woods are, well, woods. And if I do, we'll be free to tell the way of darkness. Show us what you got in mind and we'll back you up to the best of our ability. Hark! What familiar gentlemanly creations are these?
On your guard! It's a Sin Eater! Oh wait, that's no Sin Eater.
It's the Gentleman of Light, Hildebrand.
Gentleman of Light? Who is this gentleman to sight? I am the Forgiven Gentleman, Devourer of Sins, Light Warden Extraordinaire.
You might occasionally moonlight as a zombie overlord, but trust me, you're a gentleman.
Inspector, Sin Eater! Inspector, Sin Eater! You're acquainted with this, gentleman? Right then. Clearly your friend has been through a lot. Still, how did he get in his head he's a Sin Eater? Is there no way to bring back his memories? Explosives? We're still trying to save him, right? Oh! Ha! Oh! 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 Look at White! We've killed him! Oh! I'd say, Kahori, I'd resign myself to Nashu's ungentle mythology, but you too, my British friend? Oh! Oh! But never mind that. I don't recall the world being quite so purple. Previously, I was with Nashu and Greg, wandering the Zwar realm known as the Interspectorial Rift. Where am I? Who am I?
Huh?
Seeking light, aggressive posturing. I know what you are. You're one of them, aren't you?
Hmm?
What you need is good old-fashioned dwarven jacket. It's off, ghost! Yeah.
Run for your lives! It's a sin eater! Ah! Oh? A sin eater. I'll be damned. I saw a vision of the man's past. No wonder he became convinced he was a sin eater. I saw it too. It was quite possibly the most ridiculous memory I've ever glimpsed. Answer me, my faithful assistant. Where are we? And why is it so purple? The first? The first what? You tell me we've somehow traveled to an entirely different world? Ah! Good gods! They have transcended the very boundaries of time and space. We're not, my adoring fans. Hildebrand, Agent of Square Enix, Inspector Extraordinaire, will return to you forthwith. Now it's on to our final quest of the day. Well, enjoy what time I spent this far-flung quest I can remember. We should be getting away to our own world soon. Would you happen to know how we might go about doing that? Restore my soul with a spirit vessel. Say no more. Your cursory description is more than enough for me to grasp the concept completely. It's not like unlike breathe the perfect cup of coffee, which means our task is clear. We require the service of a skilled soul sommelier. Well, I know a soul sommelier named Beck Luke. Splendid. I sense that even in this world you rub shoulders with cream. Let's pay this Beck Luke a visit. I'm not sure what we're planning to do with souls, but you require Beck Luke's assistance. We can help. Aye, they've aided us time and again. Regularly do the same for your friend here. Come, thus to the Cabinet of Curiosity. So we're gonna head over to the Cabinet of Curiosity.
ready, I'll call for a big one.
Oh, the genius soul sommelier. You come highly recommended by Kahori, and what an adorable little puppy you have.
So what? Puppy? I beg your pardon, but there seems to be some confusion. Puppy? Who is this imbecile, Kahori? I've a mind to make him dig a hole like a Roman. But I presume he's a friend of yours, and one in need, no less. What? And all your friends that need to be sent back to the source? You forgot how complex and difficult it was to do the last time? You waltzed in here and asked me this favor with the air of one shopping for a new hat. This case is no different from the others, at least. This person only in soul as they were. Let's need another spirit vessel, of course, so you don't happen to have one on you already, do you? Interested you by the crystal exarch, you say? Only he knew how you were using it. Fortunately, I have a proxy on hand. We've been using it to treat patients at risk of transforming to eaters, but I suppose it's due for a change of pace. There is, however, one concern. In case I didn't make it clear before, the process is going to be a great strain upon one's soul. He's acting resentment, there's a chance his will not survive, his very essence will be rent asunder.
What easily could have possibly implemented for it to die like that. Ha ha! Kahori ought to be all too well. Sure, my good sommelier was for certain not a dog. You worked for Hildebrand Hellador, Maximilian Mandeville.
Yes, I get the distinct impression the gods themselves could not kill him. They tried, and they have. Come along then, Hilde. Can't be bothered to remember that name.
1,000 thanks. Simply for you to Soul 7, I shall hop right in.
Well, so you can wait here. I promise I won't hurt him, no matter how much I might be tempted. You'll be pleased to know the process was smooth and uneventful, honestly I was hoping for more of a challenge. All you do is take a spirit vessel back to the source and bring contact with corporeal body, to awaken immediately with the soul and memories intact.
There's nothing else, Farn and I should be getting back to our duties. It was a pleasure, Kahori. Fault to breathe. Then I understood even a fraction what happened, but I'm glad I was there for it. We'll meet again. We're sure that they're alive doing our darndest to look after the people here in your absence.
Han! Another moment soon. We have emergency on our hands. The picture's all issues, eh? That's great. We have another problem now. The inspector's body has gone missing. Went to the market to do some shopping. When we came back, there's nowhere to be seen.
I double-checked the window was locked before we left. There's nothing. Just someone forced their way in.
But the case on our hands, the race we operating inspector.
We must begin investigation at once. Come on, let's search for witnesses.
Did I see anybody get carried out of that house, you ask? I was too distracted with stock taking to make notes of comings and goings. Thought I could even would have.
Useless. I didn't see anyone getting a person out of that house, no. I did see a man carrying a particularly large sack, so I really strained to lift it. In which at the time when I mentioned it, it was a bit suspicious.
Oh, there you are. The man says vital information to help us in our investigation.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Delane, and the chief of the Tabdarian Truth. I found the publication devoted to exploring unattained and otherworldly phenomena of our isle. Your companionship will be the news of your friend's disappearance, and I happen to know precisely who's behind the incident, but I fear you may not like the answer, for the kidnapper is not of this star. They come from the heavens, from beyond the great expanse. They send a curious social-shaped message to study our world, our society, our buildings, our very bodies. You should have no doubt. You know what I was thinking. It couldn't be your protest. Oh, it could be. And it is. Your dear friend, the inspector, has been abducted by aliens. Oh, but it'll be fine. You assure yourself. After all, they just want to understand us better. You want to do the child. They do. But to what end? Why else? They may one day take over our world. Of course, they ought to do so with act of collaborators, for the Charlans are in league with our would-be overlords, providing the aliens with vital information on our vulnerabilities in exchange for a position of power within their regime. The final days was the work of 3 alien invaders, an attempt to sow chaos that our world would be easier to conquer. Blessedly, it was thwarted. But dumb luck, the thwarting were blissfully unaware of the true nature of the threat. The setback was scourged the aliens for coming back, moved them to abandon their inhibitions. Seeing events have only emboldened them, they're indeed carrying out abductions here in Razahan. As they speak, your friend lays thrown on a sterile bed in the base on the surface of the moon. They poke and probe him with inscrutable instruments that floppy ears sparkle with fiendish light. Ah, but I have to watch. Must continue my speaking secret. The fate of our world is at stake.
That sounded awful. We have to go to the moon and save the inspector at once.
At least you got the floppy ears part right.
We only expected getting probed by aliens, but not them. Then who's probing him? A man carrying suspiciously large sack. That's what's promising. Maybe someone else can tell us more. I've seen something. Let's ask around.
Okay. Let's go. Follow me. Let's go, Nash.
Kindergarten is probably the nicest people. There's an little eyes and looks nice too. Longer than anyone ever many years out.
The man with the sack. Indeed, I couldn't help but take note of it in his past, trying so very hard to be as suspicious as he was. Then to Orthodox pathman over to fountain when he met with the merchant, believed which a hefty sack it was. My mind was racing with the possibilities of what it might contain.
That ought to be a man, right? He hunt on that merchant.
A man with a large sack? Haha, you bet I saw him. In fact, I sold him my chocobo. First I told him to get lost, the bird and I go way back and so forth, but he was in a hurry. Topper was very generous. You're in my line of work, you can't afford to get too sentimental. Now I can buy whole stables with those chocobos.
Well, you say where I was planning to go next.
I was wondering something about having to get to Sullivan's welcome in a hurry. That's why he's desperate for a chocobo. It's a long way to go on foot, never mind the sack.
Yeah, the Kahori, we need to have the Sullivan's welcome right away. Here we are, with me the mysterious man with the sack must be there. Keep your eyes peeled. Over there! That man is definitely up to no good. Nice way to consider her. You stay outside and watch what happens. Mr. Chupacabra was trying to tell us about the evil schemes behind him. He wouldn't lie, would he?
The goods appear to be more than elsewhere. Very well, your payment as promised. My client will be most pleased.
Oh no, he's gonna be the expected of that giant sea monster.
There's honor and ability as always, Dr. Gay. I have faith this specimen will meet your satisfaction.
This is the one said to be the strongest water cylinder in the world, the Mandible Man.
None other. He has weathered countless explosions and multiple martial abuses. When destined to this, I myself did witness. Said he survived the journey to Dalamud itself and survived the lesser amongst the crowd and nary a scratch. Most fortunate for us, is flown to a home which I am sure he will never awake. You are free to do with this body as you please.
Even the mightiest of warriors can't fight while asleep. This metal snake on the bear be my beautiful boy in the Tower of Babel. My next child will be all but him. With this body of mine to command, I will take a bloody, glorious revenge.
Give my boldness, Dr. Legate. I expect the rest of my payment. I have debts that must be repaid.
Worry not. Self I got for good. The best fortune of House Brutus is entirely at my disposal. I shall show you my wealth, my loyal minion.
Well, I shall accept this for us, Doctor, and resolve never to renounce my wicked ways, for this time I will suffer no comeuppance. Oh, no, not you, not now. Bah, I must away! Wait, Dr. Luke, my payment!
Huh? What happened, Spectre?
Who could it be? The wolf's no longer purple. God, moving, damn you! You're supposed to be the common centerpiece of my glorious revenge! Not again! I say those are a dramatic series of events to wing to, but more importantly, after a brief detour, I find myself in my own world once more. No sincere apologies for getting out of trouble, no assistance. Just for Hildebrand. Agree, Inspector Extraordinaire has made his triumphant return. I knew it, an alien abduction, and to think I had a chance to witness one with my own eyes. This month's issue of Thumbnail Truth shall be the best one yet.
This was our further expected back. Off he went, and then came back, and then floated off again. I know not it's the first time you take it to the skies without warning, but still, it's always a little disappointing. Still, the jury's quiet on flying specters. Let's return to Ratsadan. Oh, Spectre, why have you left me again? And where have you gone? I always want to get it together, Nashu. There's a case to be solved. Just you wait, Inspector. Your alliance, Nashu, will solve the mystery of your disappearance. Again! And don't you worry, darling. As soon as I bring new news, you'll be the first to know. Till next time!
Meanwhile, in Mare Lamentorum,
The street mine is what's it flash. Find the thing back to the piece of flash. Man, gems where Justice never go out of style. See you, Inspector.
this concludes Day 13 of Endwalking with you. Patch 6.15 of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, live and direct and free to over 190 countries and territories around the world. Yes, Russia's included. On twitch.tv/homohomo2093 and YouTube. This will be archived in its entirety on YouTube. If you like what you see on this broadcast, hit the follow button on your Twitch player and the subscribe button on YouTube. Our next scheduled broadcast will be in July for Moonfire Fair 2022. Miku Argentia and Zoromed from Darn the Franks and the Minoru Free Company of Genova will be giving you the playthrough, as always. My name is Monkboy Punktoy, your host, the gift that keeps on giving. On behalf of everyone at the Okami Rojo Free Company of Coeurl, Coeurl World, Crystal Day Center, and Final Fantasy XIV, enjoy patch 6.15. Enjoy Final Fantasy XIV. May you ever walk in the light and darkness of the crystal. It's bye for now. Good night.